You're calling it, so we're not having it, or
We'll accept the
Motion for a new chair.
hey, you gotta stand that one. I'm stalling.
adjourn.
Make a motion, we approve the regular meeting minutes of October 26th.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Guess we'll vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we approve non-public meetings number 1 and 2 of October 26th.
Okay, I'll second that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Just note that I added in the winter maintenance stipend for the DPW employees.
Okay.
You have to add that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of covered by personnel action reports, but it wasn't in the packet that got emailed.
All right. Further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public input.
No one on Zoom, no members of the public here.
Okay. Mike Jasmine.
All right, so we'll start with the office. I know real quick, pick up last week, everybody remembers. This task of going back and figuring out how much a wall the same height and type and kind that Edna currently has in her office would cost. These are the numbers I put together, and I think they're one of these are pretty good.
Do you have one of those for me and Beverly? Do you, Mike?
Sure, I'm sorry, I forgot all about. Yeah.
Good, how are you? We're almost done.
Great. Right on. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
So that's basically it.
Thanks for having me back.
Upon being tasked with this by Sly in particular, I kind of started re-looking at the design. It actually could work out better if we went to phase 2 too, because we could use that extra wall. Probably largely as a barrier that one would need for that second floor anyway, if we went with that. So it should work out pretty good. It's a little bit different dynamic, but I think these numbers should cover it. Bigger wall, we need a little bit more help than I would have with 7-foot high wall. But Paul Facette will be returning to DPW. He's helped us with these things before with his skill set, so feeling pretty good about our chances.
I'm great at holding up the dumb end too.
And I can tell you, just having Julie's back a couple of days has been wonderful, and he's already been a great value. But it's also clear that proper workspace is most certainly required. Any questions on that?
What do you want from us? Consensus on the,
Consensus on the 16,302, maybe round it up a little bit, and then consensus on doing an RFP for the mini splits, if that's something you're interested in getting real quotes on for that.
All right.
make
What
the
do
motion.
we have, what do we have for, excuse me, just a minute, what do we have for a plan with regard to a redo of town hall?
We have a few different plans that
But timing wise, is this something that's gonna happen, or is it just out there?
I think they were all pretty contingent on the fire.
Okay.
I think it's way out there.
I only asked with regard to the mini splits.
I think, yeah, well, I mean, that's a reasonable question. So if we look at the reasonable lifespan of these mini splits, 10 to 15. I'd love to see it done before I go, but I find that hard to believe personally. I mean, between fire stations and all the other needs of the town,
How much for putting in a big HVAC?
I look at it, but
Split.
I could look at it, but I can't believe that it would be cheaper these days. How that would even work in that facility. Yeah, I'd have to think a little bit harder about how that would be and where it would go and the rest of that.
I'm just thinking like Bill was saying, if we get something that's big enough tonnage wise or whatever to handle doing the whole thing when the time comes.
Well, and the only reason we're really investigating this out is because there's a little bit of concern about the air quality and the temperature of these 2 new interior rooms, because we still have the wall, the 2 wall things and the rest of that. So I mean, I really haven't thought about it on that scale yet. I mean, I suppose that could be part of the RFP, isn't that all?
If we could get rid of all those.
The central system. The thing about that is just structurally, I mean, it couldn't go in the building. So, yeah, I'd have to. I could add as an add-on, see what it would be. I still think you're probably looking at the same 10, 15 years practically though. And the duct work and all that, I don't know, it'd be interesting. Interesting to see what somebody thought of that.
Yeah, to your point of the adult, if you do a mandatory site visit with these guys, and they all look at you and say, why are you doing it this way? You could do basically what Sly's suggesting.
You got a better way, almost about here.
Right.
You could about film and stuff. We could just simple that out.
So consensus,
Motion at least on the amount. How much should we round that up, you think, Mike?
63.
Round that up a little
I
bit.
yeah,
17.
yeah, feel free. I did have the individual numbers a little bit, largely because it's still numbers. It already changed. Some of the prices already changed from last week, so in both directions for no particular reason whatsoever.
17, 18.
Yeah, sure. Go 17. Be done with it.
117.
No, 17.
17.
Oh, 17 altogether.
Yeah,
Yes.
not
Yeah, we're
counting.
doing
the
this 40,000 separately.
Yes.
Yes, it's gonna be an RFP.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Right.
Just to your point, which I think is worth bringing up, is this what as we went back through the plans we had, we basically had a version of this plan that Katie had drawn. I think it had multiple offices out there.
It had three that
Yeah.
we were proposing. And it was designed to be consistent with the future of that plan being reasonably good. So you guys saw the plan that I had for the fire station. Spent quite a bit of time with Jonah Kettle on particular Friday night before he left for a week, which he did not know what he was doing, but he's gone. And that's okay.
Hold on, I'm a little bit confused. Okay, sorry. I thought you were doing consensus up to 17,000, but you made a motion.
Yeah, I asked for the motion because it's appropriating funds from a capital reserve fund,
Oh, to take the money out. Okay, got it.
town hall improvements.
All right.
And so Jonah took my plan and he made it significantly better, which is great. So we worked together quite a bit there, pretty deep into Friday night before he left. I appreciate him giving us that amount of time. And you can see that the biggest difference is the two bathrooms. One of them is ADA, one of them isn't. That way they're, both of them are sort of ADA, one of them is truly ADA. And one of his points was, maybe there's money, if there is money and you take federal state money, you better make sure it complies. So it's a good point. Everything fits well. In order for him to do this, though, he's not going to be able to do as much as I would have liked him to do. So I put in the scope of what he's hoping to come back with a price on. It's still good. I mean, it's still concrete, it's still the framing, it's still a roofing underlayment, but no roofing, so we'd have to add the roofing. Plumbing, rough. I'm hoping that I can get a number from his plumber to finish it. I really would prefer not to have another plumber come in and finish somebody else's work they started. We all know how that probably will go. Slab insulation, radiant tubing, and you can see the basics here. And then everything else would be by us. Some of it us could do. I mean, we could insulate the building. It's not rocket science, and the rest of that, as I tell insulators every day. And but we'd have to get an electrician and the rest of that stuff. So I'm heading out tomorrow morning, very early hours, for a couple of days in Virginia, as we talked about last week. And I'm hoping that his numbers come back early next week. When I return, I'll review those numbers. And then I'll start putting our own numbers together to finish it. In particular, I'd like to focus on the extractor room first, because that's really the whole genesis of all of this. We can insulate the whole thing so that we're good that we're not insulating cold spaces, and then try to see as things go how we can finish up the other pieces and parts. Because like I say, I think we can do a lot of it. The sheetrock doesn't have to be April quality. It can be West Swansea fire quality and the rest. So there's some stuff I think we can do on our own. Woodwork trim, concerns around installing doors with these guys. I mean, I can help them get a lot of stuff done, I think, to a reasonable finish. But that's where we are. I don't have anything to present you other than the change of plan, what we agreed on the scope, and just the progress basically of what we're trying to get done, and make sure you understand where we're at with this whole thing. You know, we're fighting the clock and the weather and the rest of it.
Where's the sewer line?
Sorry?
Where's the sewer line?
The sewer line on this building, near as we can figure is, it goes, there's a manhole here, there's a manhole up here behind township housing. It goes, I think, well, the way we measured it, kind of like right underneath through all this stuff here. Which makes the rough, I mean, the slab makes the rough plumbing install critical, but it makes everything critical because it's all underneath, it's gonna be underneath it, you know? So we gotta make sure we get that done and get that done right. I'm sure Scott will help us make sure that we locate it correctly in the rest.
And that's fairly new from Swansea Township.
Yeah.
Put that in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that is nice because both manholes are clear, easy and accessible. I know what the plan says, how deep it is. I think it must be deeper because as it leaves the township, there's a really good depression behind that fire station, and it's below that, so it's deep, or it's kind of belly, which I can't possibly imagine that that's working right. Yeah, right. Well, as long as one side's a lot higher. So, but anyway, that's really, this is more just to keeping you guys up to date, make sure you're okay with where we are and what we're doing. Nothing comes as a surprise to you, I know. No one likes that, no one likes surprises. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good trip.
Yeah, you too.
Good break. Boiled peanuts while you're on there.
That's what he's been saying. He's been looking forward to. How do you know that?
Third quarter expenditure review.
I
Summary was very good.
good with that. Yeah, thank you. So just giving you a little perspective on where we sit at this point, which as usual is in pretty good shape. You know, if we do end up moving forward with the addition project, there's not sufficient funds in the fire station capital reserve fund, so that might be something where we'd be looking to utilize some of these funds that we're expecting pretty confidently to come in under budget. Likewise, I suggested, and I think some of them have already gotten started, but that you suggest or ask that department heads put together, you know, reasonable needs lists. Like PD, they got a lot of aging computers. They're looking at maybe taking this opportunity to replace some of those. I know Chief and I have talked about a few items that they'd be looking at. So not, you know, a wish list, but stuff in the plan that we could then maybe, you know, look at the appropriation for next year or not have to budget for. Another example is voting machines. Our voting machines are very old. I know Heather, I think had put one in her budget for next year, but we need two. So that might be something where instead of increasing her budget next year, might be something where we can just purchase them this year. So I think this is a good time to do it. Maybe still wait a little bit longer before we pull the trigger on all of them. But I think it'd be good to be thinking proactively about that.
Can we split the difference?
Oh, you're on the next one, tax rate?
Yeah. I mean,
Always.
it ties in.
Yep, always. Whatever, I think anywhere.
Shot for 25, it'd be what? 2.25. 2.1%.
Which, I'm sorry, I didn't hear which number you said.
The total. Going from 24.92 to 25.10.
Yep.
We split that difference, maybe make it 25 even. It'd end up being what, 2.1?
Sounds right. That's spreadsheet, so I can. So it'd be like a town rate of 6.83, which would be a 4.6% increase, and then the total rate of 25 would be a 2% increase.
How's that affect the fund balance?
That's a different spreadsheet. I think that's about a 30,000, 25, $30,000 difference in that range, so not gonna break the bank.
And
Sounds unreasonable to me.
now what,
Unreasonable to me.
okay, what would you prefer?
No, I would dare say that would be fine.
This thing doesn't do much, but it's spinning right now. So 25,
To make that motion, Sly.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Okay, what's the motion, please?
For a total tax rate of $25 per thousand, 25.
Did you say 25?
$25 per thousand.
Any
Okay.
further discussion?
I'm sorry, I said it wrong.
No, you might have said it right. I might have heard it wrong. My head's still spinning. All in favor?
I,
Let's see, how many votes?
That's all I have.
up Penny's electrical services.
What's that?
Penny's electric,
Oh, yes, yeah, oh, good catch. Got a quote there from Tenny Electrical Service for lighting on the garage building back here in Wickham Hall. The hope is that between the street light that we talked about on the pole over there, and that will at least light up most of the yard pretty decently. If we need more, we can always add more. Talking about posts and that sort of stuff, that's probably be a next year thing anyway, so. If you would,
how's the wiring gonna work? Is it? Is it something that's gonna be stuck on the outside of the building or,
for the wiring,
yeah,
I would have to check on. I hope they can go through the building.
right,
Under the, yeah, I'll verify.
Is there any picture of what the lights will look like?
There's like a box light,
I don't.
2 LED floodlights. I do not have a
Are they
picture.
keeping with the character of the property?
Well, I mean, that they're in the back of the building, so, you know, but
I can't answer it. I don't know.
unless we put them on the other building.
I think that's, yeah. off
The garage?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
sorry, yes, off the
Well, if they're going
garage.
on the garage, then should be able to come from the inside.
Anything else? No? Julius, were you officially welcome?
That's kind of why I wanted to come by tonight, to just say hello, thank you guys, and, this is, I guess, if you want to call it an official welcome, I think it's ideal. Yeah,
Well, we're looking forward to having you.
Welcome back.
again, thank you for having me come back. I obviously put a little bit of a letter in with Mike right before I came, just to thank you to the people in the community, but also thank you to you guys and the staff for one, giving me the opportunity to come back. But two, also giving me the opportunity to work in the planning and land use department, which is something that's, I have obviously got a lot of experience with in other communities. And then this is my ability now to use it. So,
So have you met Sarah?
yes, yep, we spent yesterday and today really working together on their planning board meeting coming up. And so that was kind of our big task, was really organizing what those documents would look like. What would the professional letter that she sends out to you guys, the verbiage, that kind of thing. It's one thing when she drafts it, somebody needs to review it essentially, and so I'll act as a review for that. I'll be working with Mike, the other Mike, to do, building permits, organizing, creating structures for that. And then I think Mike also has a couple projects for me as well, which is digitizing his files. So that's what's immediately on the plate for me right now, but obviously that might shift as we get more priorities going forward.
Asset management training tomorrow. He's
There you go.
excited.
Where's your desk?
Well,
It's not built yet, actually. Well, no, he's gonna be,
Have you heard the Grange Hall?
I hear they're getting lights.
I'm sorry?
I see it. Oh, I was thinking back. I was
no,
back.
no, you don't go anywhere near that. It's a trap. Don't go near that. He's been just basically working either at Mike's office or at the big table, at Mike's desk. Mike's obviously going away, so his desk will be available, but
Do we have any
a little
other
bit of a nomad.
option?
Yeah, back at town clerk's office is another option. They got a quiet space in there. They got a computer in the back. So supervisor, the checklist mainly used, and once the elections in the rear view mirror, the quieter. Table in Jen and Christine's office. Everyone's done a good job of doing some tidying up to make space. So he's got a few different options.
It's a tough one to have a seat with rollers on it, though.
You want to be at the top of the table.
Yes. What about in the area where the printer is? Can any of that be opened up?
Kind of pretty well chock-a-block full of paper, and I think that'd be it. As much as the other places are noisy, I think that might be the noisiest place between the traffic and coffee machine, fridge and everything. So
Great.
When Mike first approached me with about the particular offer, he said you'd be transient for a little bit of time. I think there's a lot of value in that initially, because even though I know a lot of the departments personally, what they do has changed a little bit because of, with Matthew now gone and Sarah now in. So being able to go between the different departments has allowed me to say, this is what you're doing over here, take that into consideration whenever project's going forward. So it's beneficial for now. I would like to settle down eventually, but at least for the short time, I know it's, I have a nice little laptop, so that's what I've been using.
Good.
We're looking forward to having you.
Thanks. I'm sure I'll be back with some other
Will
projects.
he be involved in the GIS upgrade and all that? You will be?
Yes, I spoke with Sarah about that, and I know she's really excited to do it, but I know that she's has like 8 projects that are in front of her right now. So she can't prioritize GIS. My hope is that I'll be able to pull those projects from her and operate, basically be that liaison, so that she can just double check my work in the end, make sure the final result is up to her standards if she would like it. And I'll just basically do the legwork for her. It's kind of the intent right now.
Be great to get that thing rolling.
we're getting close.
I use it in other communities and I love it, so I'm glad to have
Be great to catch up to Hinsdale.
it.
We'll be ahead.
Walmart now?
Absolutely.
Let's see, where could we put it? Anything else?
I don't.
I need to be clarified on the Tenny thing. Did you agree to that by consensus? Is that what you guys did?
I don't.
Where's that money coming from?
I don't think it was really put.
Quick them all
for that.
revolving fund. So
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
just consensus.
yeah, consensus.
Okay,
Yeah.
just make sure.
They move on quick, Beverly.
No, you were fast, guys. A little slow there.
No.
What are we doing next week?
The election,
Yeah,
usual division.
I probably shouldn't be in there for that, but
Want me to take your
You
thoughts?
guys,
You guys wanna work 12 and 12-hour shifts?
yeah, you gotta go to the polls and other communities. And I'll take the first one. What time do you get there?
6,
Really?
8.
Which-
Well, he goes for coffee and breakfast first. And
Oh,
then he
that's right.
goes.
Brings all from Winston. 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Quarter up, something like that.
8 till about 11ish.
Yep.
And Ken comes in
Time for lunch.
and you come in around 7.
I'll be back around 3:30. Actually, I need to be in Walpole at 7 if I can, if you can come in.
For the counting?
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna come back and stay till midnight?
Absolutely,
All right.
absolutely.
We had an efficient machine going last time. You're gonna break that dream team up?
No, but I got other things that are a bit more pressing. I just 8 o'clock.
Yep, and then a regular meeting Wednesday.
We can't cover it. No, we can't.
And the following week, we're not on.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Motion to adjourn.
Sorry.
All of it.
You going early?
Good night, Mike.
I'm gonna get your food for you.
Oh, I'm pretty